Good morning, everyone. This is Mike O'Malley here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for October 25th, 2022, at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We have a lot to talk about today, including a hurricane threat that is looming in the Caribbean. Could we be dealing with a major storm? Let's go ahead and jump straight into everything. Taking a wide look across the tropical Atlantic today, we notice that we do have three systems out there worth monitoring. First of all, we have Invest Area 94L located in the subtropical Atlantic. We have a tropical disturbance south of there and a new tropical area to monitor now in the Caribbean from a tropical wave that is currently located east of the Lesser Antilles, and this will have to be monitored for additional development potentially into a hurricane over the next several days. Looking at Invest Area 94L this morning, we notice that the system is pretty unorganized once again. After going through an organization trend yesterday, now it's kind of fallen back to its old ways. However, we do notice that shower and thunderstorm activity does persist off towards the northwest of the system, and this may actually be a good candidate for potential subtropical designation, maybe a subtropical depression. There are some lowering MSLP fields indicating that we do have lower pressures and a spiraling wind field, so this may actually be a good candidate for a subtropical designation if this continues to organize in such a way that would warrant that classification. Looking at a tropical wave to the south of 94L, we are also watching this area off the coast of Bermuda and Florida. This has kind of been rotating around for the past several days. This actually originates from an upper level disturbance. However, we notice that again, it's not really doing too much right now. However, some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity is persisting. Maybe a little bit of lowering of the pressure field closer to that spin, but certainly this is nothing organized right now. But the models do indicate that this actually could tighten up into a tropical cyclone over the next couple of days. Looking at the GFS evolution of this particular system and the upper level winds, we notice that we will have the potential actually for wind shear to be a little bit lighter over the next couple of days with a favorable jet interaction to the north. This actually might allow a system to intensify and organize briefly into a tropical cyclone. But then we notice that as the cold front slides southward, it's going to really shut the door on any potential organization and then just drifts this system along with that cold front southward. And so this really should not be much of a threat to land. And of course, we are also monitoring an additional system out there, this time in the Caribbean. And the GFS does have the system forming within 5 days, hence why the NHC has highlighted this area. We're looking at the 300 millibar wind here, and we actually notice that the wind shear is not going to be all that strong as the system tries to move in. We can notice that the shear amounts really only have about maybe 15-20 knots of shear, so we'll be elevated maybe, but this is not going to be a particular thing that would significantly hinder development. And then as we progress forward, we also notice that the shear remains pretty low on the GFS evolution. However, we do see maybe a tad bit of an increase here towards the end, but the storm is already very formidable at this particular point. So this would definitely be something worth monitoring as we are within that 5-day window for potential development. Taking a look here at the 300 millibar heights and 10 meter wind field as to where the storm might be tracking if this were to develop, we notice that we do have an area of low pressure that will be forming across the U.S. And we notice that towards the end of this run, we notice that we will get that to slide eastward. And this is a trough that is in the atmosphere. And so with a storm being potentially as strong as it could be on the GFS evolution, this would likely mean that a cyclone would be carried further towards the north and west initially, meaning that places towards the Dominican Republic and Hispaniola, Puerto Rico would be at a higher risk for potential impacts if this were to develop. Of course, this is a big if. And then, of course, if that continues to slide eastward, that would likely carry our storm off towards the northwest and then eventually curve northeast, hopefully remaining well away from the U.S. if this evolution were to be correct. However, of course, this is still a long ways out. Now, turning our attention to the United States weather today, we notice that we do have a few weather systems out there worth monitoring. First of all, of course, this weather system moving across the central and now southeast U.S. This will be producing the threat for severe weather today across portions of the Mid-South, including portions of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, where we've already had a few tornado warnings today. Main risk today will be damaging winds and the potential for a few isolated tornadoes, especially across portions of Mississippi and Alabama. If we can get any more of the broken line segments or these kind of semi-discrete supercells, and then behind it we have cool air coming in. So we can take a look here at the HRRR forecast overlaid with the 2-meter temperatures. So we can see that as this low pressure system slides off towards the northeast, we get a bout of cool air that comes down once again. And really most of Florida doesn't really get in on that shower and thunderstorm activity. It's going to remain quite dry for several days across the area, but we notice that temperatures will be moderating, cooling down across the area, with temperatures especially across portions of North Florida that could even reach into the 40s and potentially even the 30s as well. So definitely some cool air and a lot of cool shots that will be coming in over the next several days. So make sure you are prepared for that. And especially across portions of the Northwest U.S., temperatures down below freezing in many locations, even sub-zero temperatures possible. So with that being said, I do hope you have a great rest of your afternoon and evening. Of course, I am Michael O'Malley, and I'll talk to you guys again some more tomorrow.